Folks, I am one proud Bavarian and I urge you to take a good look at this idyllic location right here. We have a beautiful church in the background. It's all incredibly rural. Everything here is a bit wilder. Even the plot shapes are wilder than, where we have settled so far. It is something to behold. And yet, of course, we have great plans. There's a lot that is going to change here, and it's incredibly important that we do it properly, because what we are about to do in this video will effectively act as the prototype for something much, much larger that we're going to do later in this map, or on this map as well. And take a look at them. They are taking down the trees. Very, very nice. That is exactly what we need. Today, we are going to, of course, keep building up this region. I think here we are roughly done. We're going to keep it very, very rural. The character of this region shouldn't really be anything else. You can see we are building some burgage plots over here as well, together with a farmhouse. I might place like one more farmhouse over there, but that is not my main objective today. My main objective is incredibly simple. I want to start exploiting the iron and clay deposits here so that we can start exporting that stuff, so, the finished products there, into our main city where this stuff is actually needed. Now, to do this, I also want to build up a castle town. The end goal here is to create a region that is incredibly rural, as we already laid the seed in the last episode, and then have just one fortified town over here. This is, like I said, the prototype. We're going to do this on a much, much larger scale in the future, but for the time being, the idea is that we're going to staff that stuff, with level 2 houses, with, for example, maybe some farming, although I doubt it, mostly probably pastures. We're going to put the trading outpost and so on in there, the granary, some well, and so on and so forth. And we're going to do this here because this is a great position to secure this stream right down there. This is what we're going to do in this video. But there is something that I want to urgently do because I didn't know about this until just now. In the last video, I desperately tried to basically create a market around this particular tree right here, and it just didn't come to me. It was so difficult, I really couldn't pull it off. It kind of sucks. I mean, I've seen worse, but I've also significantly seen better stuff for sure. What I learned afterwards blew my mind because there were so many aspects that I just wasn't aware of. I have 100 hours in this game. And yet, there are still so many things that I just never picked up on. I didn't know, for example, that we can take market stalls and just actually move them with whatever orientation we want, right? You can... oh, that was the wrong button. Right, you can see it right here. I can even turn them, and we can move them between market areas. I did not know this, which means I can just relocate all of these. They are going to be built. I assume that we're going to lose some stuff right here. Should be okay, at least I hope that it will be okay. And then I can move them back once I have basically set this region up in such a way that we can actually utilize, this as a proper round market. Now, of course, there are a lot of supplies here. It's not great to see them lost, but hey, okay, you know what, especially the berries, they actually do kind of pain me, but it is worth it, at least I hope so. We're going to reinstitute a market here soon enough. And I think this granary needs to go. This is kind of in the way. Anyway, the goal here is that we are going to have a proper, a market around this tree, and we can do that thanks to some roads if I just do it right. But this is essentially here for starters. I didn't even know that you could move these marketplaces or these market stalls the way I did it right here. I think I'm at peace with this. This should also make it so that the stalls don't really get anything, in terms of leaves in their back. Anyway, now, what you do next is you select the marketplace. And see, now I'm wondering, should I have 2 roads as guidance roads? Let's just try it like this, right? You take the marketplace, and I just gotta do it right in the first place. And then you draw market squares here, in which you can place your stalls. Right? We're gonna start with these right here. Maybe this is even a bit too big. Listen, don't worry about it, okay? We're gonna figure this out. And I think we are well on our way to actually doing that. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. I wonder whether we can't just do this in 2 separations, right? So instead of having 2 individual pieces right here, we could just do it in 1 slice each. I think that's going to work here. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that. Gorgeous. And now with that done, we can go ahead and delete this road. Although, I mean, we might leave it there. I'm not too sure. I might put it back. Just because, it wouldn't be too ugly if we have it that way. But anyway, we got these markets now, and once these stalls here are built, I'm going to actually move them over there, and then I can set their orientation. Oh my god, how was I not aware of this? It's blowing my mind how silly that is, that I, after 100 hours, still had no idea that I can move market stalls between marketplaces and have it just work. Now anyway, what I am aware of is that I need to get rid of all of these trees, and I think we might push all the way to like over here. Don't really want to go too short. That is rather important to me. Let's give you the accurate... That sounds good to me, I think. Okay, let's do it like this. And obviously I'm going to do the same technique for you right there. We might replant some of this stuff later, right? Like maybe some trees right here, maybe some trees just right here. I do want a good sightline between the fortification and the river, but in general, obviously we're looking to actually clear this out so that I can then utilize that space for our new project. I do also think that we want another logging camp, just because having multiple logging camps makes it easier to store the logs. Because the storage of logs is always like a bit troublesome in the game. Since you can't actually put it into, for example, storehouses, you do need a proper logging camp for that. And if we need a lot of timber to build, for example, the fortifications, well then, you know, I need to store it somewhere. Other than that, I also will want to start harvesting the... I'm gonna just put you right here. We're gonna start harvesting the stone here, since the outer towers for your fortification need stone. So that is something we want to do immediately. Yeah, look at that. We're gonna now grab the very first stalls here. What? Where did the tree go? No! The tree got eviscerated. God damn it. Alright, well, I guess we'll wait until that is done before I can change anything there. Let's just focus on Sveier. Now, one of the things that I do want to do, I want to rename this. Somebody suggested this, and I love the idea for this. We're going to name this Eisenkirchen. Eisenkirchen effectively just, you know, directly talks about the two most important signifiers of this region, which is, of course, the iron deposit and then the church right here. That is the very center. You might even be able to argue that the town here is not actually loyal to us as much as it is actually kind of loyal to the church. Maybe these are church lands. Obviously, the church doesn't build. I am the only one building here. But maybe you get the drift there, right? And that just means that when I have my manor here, I might make it so that we are collecting food, which gives me influence, which we don't need, but, you know, it's for the roleplay, so that this becomes essentially church-controlled territory and one of our fortifications. So this goes hand in hand. Obviously, they could be side by side, and in this case, we guarantee their safety, and they guarantee law, order, and, of course, proper subjects that won't get uppity. Alright, but anyway, there's plenty of stuff that we need to do right here. Obviously, we need to put now people into the logging camp. One family can still move in, which means there is no harm in me having the logging camp right here. And then you can start cutting down all the way over there. I don't want to get rid of these trees, and I don't want to get rid of these trees either, so we have to keep an eye on that so that we, you know, don't push that out for no reason. But a big topic now will be that we will have to plan out the actual infrastructure. Oh, and you know what? A part of the infrastructure that won't go into the fortification, but nonetheless has a huge amount of relevancy, is a windmill. We could... Oh, this is difficult. So I want to categorically build this windmill on a higher area. I know that this doesn't actually matter. The only thing that matters is whether you are free. You know, so there's no trees, there's no buildings or whatever around you. But I want to kind of place it somewhere up high, although not here, because this will become industry, of course. I think I'm going to put this windmill down right here. This should also match the character of what it was like to be a miller right here. Because this miller is very far away from the actual village. Well, if you want to call this a village, from the actual houses, right? That means actually I'm going to give him a house here. The person actually working in the mill will have a house pretty nearby. I think I'm going to put him down somewhere over here. But the idea is that we isolate him, because that was his historical position as well. It's a super interesting topic. Let's get into that once I place this house right here. I'm going to give it a bit of an interesting shape as well, at least more interesting than what we usually do. And then let's place it down right here. Boom, there you go. We're going to make this 2 houses. They will be pretty self-sufficient. I wager we're going to give them a vegetable garden, right? And then we're going to lead them in here towards the mill so that you have access. It really needs to be clear. This is the house of the miller. It belongs to him. This is the primary location right here. I don't really love the way this roadworks there. I think that is okay. See, the role of the miller in medieval society was really, really interesting. And there are, of course, also actually a lot of open questions. The millers, very often, as things were, lived fairly isolated. Whether it was, of course, a windmill or a watermill didn't really matter. You lived somewhere, and you were the only one that could actually maintain a mill like this. Now, I don't actually know the exact circumstances. I know that it was relatively arbitrary, and I know that this wasn't, what I'm about to say, the case everywhere in Europe or even in Germany and throughout the entire medieval period. But, by and large, millers were seen with a lot of suspicion. Millers, in the German sphere anyway, had what was essentially called an honorless job. This is, well, if you want to put it literally, it's a dishonest job, but not in the sense of them lying. Rather, they could never attain honor. Honor, of course, in the medieval period was an incredibly important concept, because if you lose it, then you are absolutely nothing. Marriage will be out of the picture. You won't be, somebody that can be in a court as, for example, a witness. You can't do any of that stuff. So millers clearly had a huge disadvantage there, right? Even on this very superficial analysis of honor and the principle around dishonorable jobs. Now, it's interesting to me, because miller was also at the same time a privilege, right? When you, for example, settle these new territories during the German period of the Ostsiedlung, you as the locator, so the person that did all of these things, that brought all of the people here, all the settlers, that started the settlement, that measured everything out, this was such an important job. And as a reward, you got the right to build a mill. And yet I'm telling you, hey, you're getting it right, it's a huge boon, you're really doing a great job, good for you, and also everybody hates you. Now, why exactly that is, like I said, can't really state that. I've read very different accounts over the years, essentially, of reading about the Middle Ages, where sometimes it was argued that millers were so important that they couldn't leave for war, and if you don't go for war in a culture that really values, of course, people defending their homes and so on, then that makes you dishonorable. You couldn't leave because basically your lord said, no, you're too important, you can't go, we need you to keep doing the mill. On the other hand, there were just some examples where it was essentially said that there was a lot of suspicion because people suspected, hey, I think this miller is taking too much of my actual flour. When you go to the mill, you give your grain to the miller does the milling, and then you come out and you have your flour. You don't get a choice where you go, because your lord will say, no, this is the only mill, you live right there, you have to go to that mill over there, and then if that miller steals grain from you, there's no recourse, there's nothing you can do. And at the same time, the miller would also be in a position where, well, he would essentially be the one that gathers, for example, the tenth, so, the tithe. The miller takes your grain, puts it into flour, takes some for himself, and then some for the church. All of this makes it so that, yeah, if I'm going to hate anybody in this town, then it's probably going to be the miller. He lives so far away from us, he takes my grain, he takes my flour, and yeah, I just hate that guy. So, like I just explained, there are various reasons for why a miller might be dishonorable, but I have no definitive answer, and it has to be said that in many areas, be it in Germany or be it, for example, in Czechia and such, there weren't any kind of reservations about millers, but, for example, millers were not allowed to have an actual guild. Millers were not allowed to marry the daughter of somebody that worked in a guild. We have certain cases where, effectively, somebody was threatened to be kicked out of the guild unless they, kind of forfeit the idea of marrying the miller's daughter. Very interesting topic, and definitely also something why in Kingdom Come Deliverance the millers are the criminal sect. They are the thieves guild, if you will. Well, informally, of course, because, hey, no matter how we look at it, the miller was there, mistrusted, and if you are a miller, you might as well go into that stereotype, eh? It makes perfect sense, historically speaking, that our farmers right here cannot just go to this windmill. Obviously, mechanically, that's just the way things work. But fundamentally, there was essentially a mandate where it was said you have to go to this mill or that mill. So, hey, you have a guaranteed job as a miller. But at the same time, if you're living a good life, if, you are getting richer and richer, the farmers are absolutely going to detest you. And I like that. That is so interesting because, again, it's a privilege. Yet at the same time, you are going to be seen as a bit of a dishonorable fool. Speaking of dishonorable groups, of course, there were a lot of consequences to being a dishonorable person, or, to lose your honor, essentially, which is also why there was so much aggression about honor in the Middle Ages. Here in particular in Germany, we had the feuds and such, and these feuds were serious business, because if you back down, if you lose face, that means that, well, your time in the limelight is over. How can anybody trust you if you can't even keep your honor intact? It's such an interesting concept, and well, much like the miller, there were also other jobs that just fundamentally did not have honor. Again, differed from region to region, but for example, we have stuff like the executioner. I mean, hey, they are killing people. Obviously, that person doesn't have any honor. Obviously, my son is not going to marry his daughter. But we also had other folks like the vagabonds, and then something that I learned about just very recently. I cannot believe that I had never heard about this beforehand. It appears that only really Switzerland talks about this a lot, but after the Middle Ages end, you have now a certain population that is seen as dishonorable. They are essentially a different strata. They are viewed as, you know, a different caste almost, and those people are moving around. Obviously, what comes to mind are the Roma and Sinti, for example, as great examples of transient folks that are being discriminated against there. But we also actually, very similar to, for example, the Irish travelers, right? I believe you have the Wohnwagenbewohner in the Netherlands. I think there's also... Oh, there's a case, but I forgot the term for it, in Spain as well, where essentially a part of the native population has also become transient. And in Germany, that's the Jenisch. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Like, seriously, I've never heard about this. The Jenisch, and apparently there are still 600,000 people in Europe that descend from the historical Jenisch that were transient. They were essentially discriminated against, but they were not really an independent or, you know, individual separate ethnic group. They were essentially just outcasts from their very own society. It's a super interesting topic because the Middle Ages, of course, really leaned into stratification the longer they went on. You started with freemen all around, and even aristocracy was something that was pretty translucent. You could actually make it through, you know. You had a lot of lower aristocracy, and that really started to stratify itself as time went on. And so, in the end, you end up in a situation where you have these very strict separations that then take hundreds of years to tear down and to, well, reintroduce millers into acceptable, honorable society. It's a wild topic. But yeah, being a miller, it's a privilege, and at the same time, it very much is also a bit of a pain. Now, this guy is going to have vegetables. He's going to have a great time. You know what? Let me check in on our market square. Is the tree back? Oh my god, is the tree ever coming back? I'm losing my mind. I hate this. I really do. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. Well, anyway, I guess we're gonna place a couple of these here anyway. Oh man, yeah, that's... Sucks to be me, I guess, huh? Sucks to be me, indeed. Man, this just gives me so many ideas for what we can do with marketplaces going forward now. I did not know that I could manually align them. It makes everything so much better. We're obviously going to be doing this in any major city that we're founding from now on. I think this is just... I love it. That is so good. I've wasted my life, okay? I've wasted my life hoping for good market space alignments. I can just do it on my own. What the hell, man? You had some unexpected jobs as well in the dishonorable category. You had stuff like, for example, the Tower Watch. Now, there's also really only guesses why that would be. Why is somebody that, for example, keeps out an eye for, you know, any fires, for bandits, that kind of stuff, why are they dishonorable? And the answer may be, and I say very carefully, maybe here, this is not a certainty, it may be that these kind of jobs were mostly taken by people that were transient. So, by people that were not a part of the firm community. And of course, the longer we go in the Middle Ages, the more important does it become that you are fundamentally a part of the in-group. And in this case, you just wouldn't be. Some jobs of these, you know, lost that stigma later on. But obviously, I mean, the executioner, well, never really lost it. How could it lose it, right? Alright, but I think we are now where we want to be. I think this is where we're gonna roughly have the border. Let me look at this, right? We have a very steep decline right over here. If we build on this level, obviously there's like some incline here as well, but that's gonna be fine. I really love the water situation here. That is great. What we're gonna do now, and I need to do this right here, okay? But what we're gonna do now is we're going to draw a path. Now, if you've watched this channel over the last couple months, well, over the last month, I should say, then you will know that I have built my fair share of walled cities, walled fortifications, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, they're not actually castles, but still. I have learned a couple of things through doing this, and a big part was to draw a path where the walls will go. That way, we can always tell what exactly is going on, what does it look like, right? Are we in a good position? Is this a space where we have protected, you know, where I'm overbuilding? What am I doing? How's it going? We can tell just by doing what we're doing here. I'm going to push this tree line back at least a little bit, just like this. I think that should be perfect. And this path right here is now delineating where we are going to have our wall. This means in here we shall build. And now let's start by building our manor. I want the manor to be at the end of this. Yeah, I think that is fine. So we're going to place the manor roughly right here. I don't think for this one right here we want a lot of distance between the manor and the actual outside, because this is just a fence. It's not big. It's not, you know, there's not going to be too many buildings in there. So we can just like place it where we have placed it. And now what we're going to do already, I think, I am going to place, and I got to do this by running some outer towers along like this. I'm going to place down the wall already. I've explained this in one separate video, but I'm going to do it here as well again. If you place the wall, but don't press commit, what you end up with makes it so that any buildings you then place in the wall, so within the borders of the wall afterwards, any buildings there will still be interactive. You can interact with them, you can change, you know, for example, employment allocation, all that kind of stuff, despite, well, that not really being intended behavior. You're not meant to touch those buildings afterwards. It's, you know, not really a working design. I say this every time we work with a wall like this, but make no mistake, I am very much abusing the system here. You're not meant to use walls like this in the game currently, but I am going to do it. Because I'm crazy. And I think this looks good. This corner, no, we can cover that corner. We're going to put the, let me see whether you fit. Ooh, do you not fit? Oh, too far from other models. Okay, whatever. Wait, give me 1 second here. Let me just see whether we... Yeah, okay. We can make this corner look good by putting the tower right there. That is gorgeous. I love to see it. So, the way this works, to break it down bit by bit, step by step, if you want to do this as well, you place the manor, then you draw this fence right here, and then you click close. This makes it so that only the manor gets built, not the fence. And that is what you want, because then we will place all of the buildings inside here, and that puts us in a position where, well, after this fence goes up, so we then go in here, click, yep, construct the fence. After all, we're going to do it. After we do that, we can then still interact with all these buildings. If you're going to do this, again, just to repeat this, be aware, this is not how this is intended to work. I am cheating the system because I'm a son of a gun. But it will look really, really nice, I think. I hope. Let's pray that it will look nice, okay? And we also do want... Let's put one more in there. And I might even claim an ox. I mean, we're going to see, okay? Anyway, we're going to go ahead, and indeed we need more planks, we need more timber. We have a lot of stone. That stone should be enough for the towers. And then hopefully we can build this fortification relatively soon. I also need to think about paths. We definitely want one path, I think, down here to the very central crossing right here. And I think I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build this symmetrically here. We're going to go ahead. I'm not going to pull it up to the actual castle yet, but I will be building it this way. And then we're going to pull in here like this so that we can mirror this here. And I think all we now need to do is draw a market square here so that these roads become thick. And if I then get rid of you, I think they stay thick. So this makes it so that the fortification will look like it's a very central element that just belongs here. Right? It just really, really fits in here. Oh, and look at that. The manor is going up in record time. Very, very fast indeed. Now let's think about what exactly is going to go on in the manor. Obviously, this road is one of the main roads as well, so that means we're going to have a road coming in roughly over here. This makes sense to me. Boom, place it in there. Now we have to think about what kind of buildings do we have and where do we have them. I think we will essentially build some burgage plots in here, and we will act as though these burgage plots belong, well, to the retinue of this region. Obviously they don't, that's not how it works, but hey, you know, sometimes you gotta LARP a little. We're gonna do this by placing a road, I think, like this. And then tying it together like so. This in here can now become our well. Actually, we're gonna put the well, I think, right next to the... You want to put it right next to this? I think so. You know what? Let's try this. Right over there. Then right here, we're going to place our market square. And I wager I'm just going to do manual alignment. 12 market squares. If I do it like this, I can probably still pull some in there. Let's just place it like this. Then afterwards, we're going to place down some houses. Again, always keep in mind the walls here are a bit further away. I'm going to push this path like so. And then we're gonna have some houses here. No backyard, because again, these are just for the retinue. Could theoretically do it like this, have 4 houses in total. You know, why not? I actually, honestly, for this kind of building style, I prefer it if they are tighter, if they are denser, right? So even if it's just 3 houses, technically that is less than 4, obviously, but it kind of just looks nicer, I think. And then down here, I want to do something very similar, if at all possible. We're gonna lead in here. I think there's gonna be a tax office, maybe right here. At the entrance area, oh yeah, right, the entrance area. Let's think about this. We're going to place down a trading post. I want the trading post inside. For me, that's important. I think we want to place it relatively close here, actually, directly to the market square. That at least sounds sensible to me. I might, you know what, I might redo this road here. Also feel like that's the best that I can do. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay. And that should now also make it so, this road actually being fed, that is okay. So we have this thing right there. Then on the other side, I do want a tavern in here. Not sure whether we're ever going to use it, but I do want a tavern in here. How are we going to place you? I want it facing the main entrance. Now, what actually is the main entrance? Isn't this the main entrance? It feels like this is going to be the main entrance just because this is the main road right there. And I'm not sure that that looks good. No, you know what? Let's pretend for just 1 second as though this right here would be the main entrance. I think it's going to look fine. I'm going to place you roughly like so. I think I want it facing this direction, right? Let me take a look at this. I think so. I could, theoretically, we could have it obviously like this. I think it looks less impressive. I think if you place you like this, you enter this, you see our hospitality industry, and it also means that I can have another road running into the upper area there. And now let me think, what else might we need here? I always like to go over everything. I don't want a church in here. We are going to do a fortified settlement with a church in it. Don't worry about it. It's going to be glorious, okay? Oh, you know what I do want is a hitching post. I think that should be good. We want that hitching post, I think, very nearby here as well. I'm going to place you probably... Do we have a road here? I can't even tell. Oh yeah, we have a road that fits in there perfectly fine. Boom, there you go. So we got a hitching post. I definitely want a granary and a storehouse. I think we want those opposite the market maybe, right? We could also work with a packing station here. Oh man, now I'm thinking. We have a trading post. I think a couple of pack stations make sense, but we might want them outside of the walls. I feel like those would go over here. These two here, by the way, will disappear. They will go. We're going to knock them down. We're going to put all that stuff over there, and you will like it. Oh, right. And what I almost forgot here as well, I want a smithy. We're going to have the bloomery and the clay furnace outside, so over there. But the smithy needs to be inside. This is vital for the well-being of our nation. Right. And maybe, even though I'm hesitant about using it, maybe a last communal oven would actually be a great idea as well. Oh, come on. You're telling me you don't fit in here? Ah, you lunatic. How dare you? So close to greatness. Oh! Oh, gotcha. Is that everything? I think it might be everything. We could do a livestock trading post, but I don't think so. So those are the necessary buildings, right? I'm going to place down a couple more houses in this general vicinity. Apparently only one house. I think I am at peace with this. Okay. The tax then needs to go somewhere else. We're going to place more houses right here. We're going to follow a pretty straightforward thing. These will have a backyard. That's okay. Yep. There you go. I feel like we're going to place down another house here, except we will also have a road running down right there. And then a house immediately adjacent to this. And that leaves us with a pretty busy city center. Oh, the last thing that I actually want to add here would be some pasture. How about that? Some pasture would be nice. Let me do a guidance road. Why not? We will, of course, when a siege happens, immediately slaughter everybody in here. But you don't have to tell that to the sheep. They can live in ignorance, okay? And then maybe a small pasture here as well. Nothing big. Nothing too significant. Yeah. Okay. Let's have them build it. Alright, and with that, as you can see, they are getting busy, and I like it. I'm already gonna make it so that these storehouses and this granary don't accept anything anymore, so that once these are built, these will just empty out, and then we can go ahead and actually do stuff there. Oh, and this does also mean I gotta get rid of this market. I mean, I could just, like, move you, but You know what, you're gonna do this on your own. I don't need to micro that. We're gonna lose a lot of, I think a lot of our materials here, but hopefully we'll survive. And look at that. I think it's definitely getting there. We also get pretty wide roads right here. This also actually allows me now to put down more stalls than this market square would normally assign, since I can just move them. Oh, that is so nice. I had no idea. I'm gonna move one more, I think, and then hopefully that is going to be enough space for our entire region. This one won't actually fit. Okay, well, fair enough. All right, anyway, now that we have done all of this, what we can do next is we can upgrade these houses to level 2. I will not upgrade any house except the ones right here in this upcoming fortification. They are allowed to be level 2. The rest has to remain exactly where they are. Now, speaking of that, I'm also actually going to go ahead and, you know, now that I'm thinking about this, you think I should have put the Weaver's Workshop in there as well? I feel like the sheep are kind of just stand-ins. I want to argue they basically exist to say, hey, if we ever come under siege, we have food, like, we're just going to slaughter them. I don't think I need the Weaver's Workshop to begin with there. What I do need is a livestock trading post. We're not going to utilize this anytime soon, but obviously, once we start making some money, we're also going to import some sheep and then put them in there. Now, the big question, the very scary question is, what exactly is this going to look like cost-wise? What is coming for us here? That's the... That's giving me a bit of a headache here. This guy right here, and it needs to be pointing into this direction. We're going to put you on this corner. Because then, take a look at that. Oh yeah, you have a good overview. That is very, very nice. Then we're going to go ahead, and obviously we need to draw some walls as well. Some paths actually. This goes down there and ends up in the main road. We might put another path, if we already have this here anyway, right? We might put another path like so. And then alongside the elevation line here. That means we also go there. And then right here, sure, why not, right? Maybe it's a bit too many places where we have stuff coming out of, but it's going to make logistics that much easier. Now, what I also want is in this corner a tower for sure. Obviously, this tower here is nonsense, doesn't mean anything. I want 2 towers maybe on this. Getting rid of you. I don't want to go overboard on the towers. I don't think it's worth it, and I don't really think it looks that great either. Oh, what the hell was that? Okay. Now let me ask. Is this too much? Is this just enough? I feel like 2 towers might actually be too much. What do you think? You walk up to this? Maybe if you just have 1 tower next to it? I understand, obviously, like 2 towers sounds more common and, you know, more right, if you will. But I'm not sure that I agree with this. I feel like 1 tower is plenty, at least for the time being. I think that works. If we close this now, and then reopen this, what are we looking at? This isn't looking too bad at all. Oh, I forgot the... I forgot the tax office entirely. We're definitely going to have a tax office. Too far from other models. Okay, doesn't really concern me that much. This is pure aesthetics, obviously. Not sure where we're going to put you. I don't want to have you in front of that. You know what? Yeah, you go here. You're just a boring module. Don't worry about it. There you go. Alright, and now we just need enough timber and enough planks. The planks here, I'm going to actually assign you a permanent guy. And then these logging camps, we might just create 1 more logging camp so that we can store enough timber. And obviously we want that relatively close to the castle so that, you know, it's very easy to transport. Also place these foresters' huts right here. So hopefully they can clear that out. Oh my god, it is coming along so nicely. Alright, now let me take a look at this again. We got everything. Let's make sure that everything here is looking the way it's supposed to be looking. Are there any more buildings that I want to place down on the inside? I don't think so. I think this is it. Let's hope... could I theoretically just check in? I think they fixed that? Yeah, they did, okay. Listen, it would have just looked nice. This wouldn't have been about me exploiting anything, okay? But look at that. Oh, Lord. We can get rid now of a whole bunch of folks here. I'm going to unemploy a bunch of them. Just because it's no longer needed. The Woodcutter's Lodge, that is very needed, but I'm actually gonna... Oh, that's a good question. We probably ultimately want to have you... Actually, we can't really have you up there. Probably ultimately want you over there, because we will need the firewood anyway. Oh, that's such a good call. We will need the firewood for this stuff right there. So we're gonna be relocating you. Boom, there you go. And that also means that we're gonna be relocating one of these foresters' huts. I think we can keep one, but the other one needs to do its labor all the way up here. Okay, but anyway, I mean, I'm just stopping the inevitable from happening here. This will now take long. It will take a very, very long time. But look at them all standing right here, one by one, delivering their wood. They're not bugged out, just for the record. It's just only one person can interact with this, right? So they're all waiting. We just have too many people working as laborers right now. I think this is a great position. We have something here that is very small and yet looks pretty organic, pretty unified in its design. And just look at that. Look at what it can actually keep track of here. This entire valley will be secured entirely thanks to our position. And of course, the trade post in there and the granary in there makes it so that we should also, together with the pack stations, I did ultimately do it, by the way, I put pack stations into this building right here, or into this fortification. But all of that should make it so that we also see a lot of foot traffic and that it should be relatively easy to take stuff out of the warehouse, take it, you know, be it either by cart or by a trader, and bring it into our other region. There you go. This is one of the packing stations I put right here. You can see there are still like slightly higher locations. This is not the top of the hill, but it's so, you know, basically the elevation change is so non-dramatic. I think this already works. We could have pushed it even further, but then this kind of visual effect isn't a given anymore that you have when you walk right here. You will immediately see the wall, the tower, and it will all be very, very imposing. Yeah, this is exactly how I envisioned this. Honestly, it's better. All right, and now this will be our last development point, because thereafter we would need level 3 housing, which we will never build in this town. So that's fine. What should we do? Sheep breeding? I don't think so. I don't think orchardry is it either. We could go for forest management just to get more berry deposits. I really want this to just be a mining area. That is the main topic of this. We protect the trade and we mine. Maybe beekeeping, but I want to do this in a different region anyway, so it's not that pertinent for us here. We could go with a heavy plow. Honestly, the oxen are gonna be relatively useless unless they're plowing. So maybe I should actually do this. But the paths are so long, I'm not sure that it's going to benefit us. You know what? Let's go with trapping. Let's just generate more meat. We are not in a position where we have a great, you know, kind of setup for this. You can see right here we have just a meager 20 wild animal, you know, possibility there. But either way, doesn't really matter. We're going to go in there, just, you know, get some more meat, maybe make people a little bit happier. And then we'll go from there. I do also actually... We're now coming into a dangerous territory here. I need to actually rebuild this woodcutter's lodge that I tore down. Oh, the tree has reappeared. Hello, my best friend. After all the pain. Now let me check this. We're going to move this food stone. There's a lot of food in there. This is going to be painful. And we're going to move you. Oh, just like that. Perfect. And there you go. It's done. We got this little tree in the center here. Man, there's so much that we can do with this kind of nonsense. I think what we're going to do up here... We're going to actually run a charcoal burning endeavor. You use firewood, right? So I'm gonna pop maybe 2 of these down here, roughly in this area. I want this, you know, to be more aesthetically pleasing than anything. I like that they're already lit up. That's okay. Obviously, we're going to start doing this. We're going to probably put another woodcutter's camp down here. And then we're just going to generate charcoal so that we can then use it here in our metal industry. We are going into the right specialization direction. And by the way, to the commenter that keeps pointing out, hey, wait a minute, this is not a very defensible manor. That's true. This manor only exists to keep this city under control. This is the only purpose. Not really a defensive purpose. Look at that night hillside over there, though. Maybe eventually... we're going to see something that protects the entire region on this hillside right there. Keep that in mind, because we're probably not going to be doing it until several episodes later. Alright, I now also made it so that this warehouse, this storehouse, will no longer actually carry iron ore or clay, which means we can set up an independent storehouse here that holds both of these and nothing else, making it so that, well, yeah, the start to set this industry up right here is actually beginning right now. Now, I have seen this, by the way. We could theoretically place it like this and then another one there and maybe even another one there. But honestly, I don't think that min-maxing is necessary. I think the packing stations won't be able to keep up with that anyway. And I'm not here, you know, about to sell this to infinity here anyway. So I'm just going to place 1 each. And then, like I said, we're going to stick to mostly the main road. we're gonna have a storehouse here. This storehouse will hold nothing but charcoal, and then of course clay and iron, and then immediately after, obviously, we also need the bloomery and we need the clay furnace, both of which need refiring and both of which we shall bring in right here. Man, I'm not sure how are we going to construct this, how are we going to do this. I'm not even sure, do we need 2 bloomeries for 1 mine, or how exactly does this work? I think we are producing more than these bloomeries individually can actually deal with. I'm going to go ahead and just try to put it maybe along a road that leads in there, but is still pretty close to the warehouse in general, right? So we're gonna... Now, as we do have these workers here, though, I also want to have them live locally. That is an interesting element. We could have some farms up there as well. I feel like I want them maybe in a small rundling, except there won't actually be any type of fields around it, at least not natively. I'm gonna do it like this. Oh, and I didn't check for the water. You always check for the water. It's the first lesson you do, okay? Oh, we are so lucky. Let's go. That is ridiculous. Okay, anyway. From here, we're gonna do some guidance roads, and I'm just gonna, I don't know, just randomly. Let's see what we come... Oh, that's definitely way too close. Let's see what we come out with, okay? It's just gonna align. We're gonna see what it looks like afterwards, and then we'll see whether it looks good or not. Look at that. I like it. Okay, you know what? We're gonna go with this. As it is. And you know I want these trees to remain here. So let's just pump this in here. Now these will probably be about the last houses that we built for this. They barely have any backyards, which is acceptable, in my mind anyway. Let's build this rundling. Only 1 entrance. As God intended. Actually, you know what? That's not right. No. We're gonna have 2 entrances. Sure. To these workplaces. Why not? Oh, and look at that. We are so close. Only 12 timber are missing. And this, yes. That is exactly what I had in mind. Look at that. Oh, this is as far as we can go here. And the traders now going in and out. It's going to be such a nice sight. And of course, let's take a look at what that actually looks like from a distance right here, right? You come in here as a trader, you see this tiny village, and then you already see the fortification. You know that this is safe. You know that you enjoy walking in this direction. And then from the other side of the stream, look at that. Very, very nice. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh my god. It is done. The manor has been built. Let's take a good long look at that. Obviously, we're going to get rid of of all of these logging camps. I'm going to move them. They do not have a place right here. And then this road will be pretty clear, right? Again, you have this marker, you have what little we have of a village over there, and then you have this fortified town right here. And I say fortified town, it really is no more than a fortified trade post. Everybody living there effectively just deals in iron and in clay. But look at that. I think we can feel safe. I think everybody here can feel safe. This also, of course, once we start building there, makes Waldbrand very, very, very attractive to have, like, you know, their densest settlement right over here, since it is directly under the protection of this manor. Let's go on the inside. Actually, let's start right here. I'm gonna take a look at it from here. Okay, yeah, again, like I said, this is slightly higher, but the elevation rise is so slow that I think this is completely acceptable, since we are past the very steep elevation. We got the church over there. And then inside, we have a packing station. We have several buildings. They're all level 2. These are the only level 2 buildings in this region. You can see it right here. We're now on the inside. We got some sheep that are already here. There will be more sheep going forward. We have 1 row of buildings. They fill this out very, very nicely. We got this trade post right there. 2 packing stations, 1 granary, 1 storehouse, this market. And my god, being able to move the market stalls is a game changer for me. That much is for sure. We also, of course, have this 1 domineering tower right there. And then we have this building here, the tax office, that is just for cosmetics. But my god, it certainly looks great. You can also see now that we have this path alongside the entire wall here. Well, the entire fence, but let's call it a wall for, you know, for my sanity's sake. This fence, or rather this path, of course, is normal as well. I didn't do that in my old town. I'm doing it here, and I'm going to do this in any fence thing that I am building going forward. I think it fits perfectly, and just look at that. I think I was cooking here. I think this has everything that is needed. Again, this is the prototype, and Well, you let me know what you think, but I'm very happy with this. We're going to build something much more magnificent than even this in one of the future videos. But that leaves me here with Eisenkirchen in a situation where we will build this industry, this Rundling, then I'm actually going to set up farming. I currently only have the farmhouses down and all that stuff, but I haven't done anything with it. And once we've set that up, we're going to start setting up our export routes as well. I think we're gonna set up the export routes tomorrow, so that we can then have clay tiles and indeed iron slabs going into our capital where we will then sell it. And here I think, I mean, we do actually, you know what, we can use the flour locally because I did build a communal oven in here, just to be sure. We might get rid of like some of these closer trees, but I mean, this is the backyard. It's not that important. It's ultimately just shrubbery as well. I really made sure here to clear this a bit further than we may normally have done as well. I hear you please that you want to clear this as much as possible. Yeah, I'm happy. I am very, very happy. Next time we are setting up the industry, and then we are already starting our expansion into Waldbrand, which I am super excited for, because this will be something that we haven't done yet at all either. There effectively will be no central settlement at all in this region. It will all be individual farmsteads, Weiler essentially, Einzelweiler. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow with an episode doing this and then starting in Waldbrand. And we're going closer and closer to really pushing this map to the maximum, to the limits here. And I can't wait until we get to this spot right here. I'll leave you right here anyway, and I'll see you later, alligator.